Imagine being pulled into a current, each pull overwhelmingly swaying you in different directions. Eventually, you get burnt out and the waves overtake you in defeat. This is exactly how I felt as a young black girl trying to navigate away from the current and find safety in my sense of self. Growing up, I felt that my identity was constantly caught in a powerful current. The constant waves of societal pressures from school to conform, the pull to take pride in my culture and identity, and the push to fit in carried me away from my personal identity. As I swam through the currents of life, I found myself drowning trying to stay afloat with my sense of self. Over time, I learned how to fight against the current and embrace the identity I was searching in the storm. As I grew older, I learned to ride its waves, turning my challenges into strengths and resilience and embracing my identity. As a little girl, I always looked forward to my family gatherings. It was something that made me feel secure in who I was. My family from both sides celebrate and uplift each other. I cherished and soaked these moments in. Um, in these moments of being with my loved ones, learning about the greatness of loved ones that we lost, and celebrate each other's past, present, and future accomplishments hit me with a large wave of pride and happiness. Uh, Seeing the black women and men in my life accomplish so much greatness strengthened my sense of self. I remember hearing my cousin share the news of becoming an RN and passing her exam. And in that moment, she's who I wanted to be like when I grew up. My hopes and dreams were greater than the sea. And I knew that we were all capable of anything, and it kept me afloat. Overflowing with exhilaration, I shared to my parents about everything that I learned. Even though they heard most of what I heard, they still poured into me and they still gave me hope of who I could become. When I was in school, there weren't many kids like me. Um, so it was different. In third grade, my mom started to do my hair in protective styles, specifically box braids. And I got a lot of comments about it. I didn't mind answering some of the questions over and over, like how long did it take? Is that my real hair, or if if I pull it, will it hurt? um, I answered these questions so much, I felt like I should make pre-made cards so that they're available. Um, After a while, it became so normal. I started questioning it. Like, why are they questioning me about my hair? Why is my hair so unusual? Or why don't the other girls get questioned about their hair like I do? So one day, um, a boy in my class pulled my hair and asked, did it hurt? And it made me embarrassed and confused that he felt so comfortable touching me without my permission. And I didn't see other girls get treated like that. So I shied away from wearing my hair in that way. As I embarked in my journey to middle school, the microaggression continued, but the microaggression was a slight wave compared to the big tide that was about to crash. In seventh grade, I experienced a racist encounter by another student. He referred to me as a slur that no young black girl should have to go through. In that moment, I was more than upset. I was angry, confused, and conflicted. The pride that once kept me afloat was gone, and embarrassment was strong, like a current, and too hard to fight against. I became reserved and no longer wanted to be a part of my own community. While becoming reserved, I faced the challenges of how people viewed me, and I was going through internal struggles that caused me to question myself. I was forced to deal with the complexity of my identity at an early age. As a young black girl trying to process my confliction between being proud of who I am and seeing myself how people view me. I was emotionally drained. I remember the way of happiness at my family gatherings changed to shame, and I questioned my self worth. Um, I constantly thought about the ignorance that was cast upon me, and I was filled with overwhelming emotion. I feared being judged by everyone else at school, and the self doubt was at an all time low. But I tried to fit in as much as possible to avoid that same encounter again. On one hand, I was told that I should be taught to take pride in who I was, but seeing how people viewed me completely washed away anything that I was taught. Um, the emotional burden drained my energy, and I started to question if I was going to be able to find balance within myself again and be confident enough to keep my head above the water. Although I thought I had to accept what was happening to me in school, I eventually used those terrible moments to grow my identity. Uh, Taking these challenges gave me strength to embrace my identity and find empowerment as a black girl after spending a couple years torn between being accepted and being who I am. Um, I started to embrace who I was and where I came from, rejecting stereotypes and understanding through representation that I should be proud of who I am, no matter how uncomfortable it made others feel. By self discovery, I was able to find my spark and reclaim my identity. I transformed my feelings of self doubt into confidence, resilience, and empowerment. I'm so glad that I had a strong support system that listened to me continually. Um, they helped me out of the current of self doubt. My family made me feel valued and heard. I talked to my grandma about it because she went through similar experiences, and she taught me the beauty and the history behind my identity. So I continue to uplift myself by reinforcing positive narratives and using daily affirmations in building my confidence back. Navigating through an unpredictable current is never easy, but for me, it wasn't impossible. In my journey of swimming across life's currents, I found strength in my struggle and learned to be comfortable as a black girl. Um, and I empowered myself. As I ride the wave of challenges, I will always remember the grim times I overcame and strength I had to overcome the current. I managed to gain my spark back while figuring out the difficulty of empowerment and internal battles. I found a way to swim through it all. As you listen to my story, I hope that this story invites you to consider your firsthand experience with identity and various aspects that shape who you are. Whether you face resembling struggles or different ones, there will always be a current that will try to pull you in various directions. And which you may feel inclined and you can't get out. But my hope is that you will swim no matter what. Keep who you are afloat, even when it seems tiring. I want everyone to embrace their identity, challenging the expectations that cause discouragement, and take pride in who you are. Like currents shape the flow of a journey, the experience we face in our cultural and social norms shape the flow of our lives. Through it all, I learned that embracing myself is the strongest current in my life. I encourage you to swim in your own journey and never let the tides of expectations pull you away from who you are destined to be.